Hello, welcome to Gurukul's CAT 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video on the Verbal Mastery with Prady, a 100 days CAT series that's been specifically designed to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom by the Gurukul. Now, in case we want to take this passage as a test, all you guys can do is go to www.gurukul.org.in and register for the 100 days to CAT test series. Okay, so this is a free test series that's been designed to keep you all consistently practicing for the last 100 days to CAT, okay, so that you don't miss that golden opportunity to get into your dream IEM. Of course, this is free of cost and you get 100 tests of quant, LRDI and verbal ability, so you can practice this and stay consistent. In case you don't want to take this as a test and you want to continue with this video, that's completely fine. You got to pause the video when I ask you to pause it, read the passage, answer the questions, and then we'll go into the explanations of the passage and the questions. Okay, so now let's quickly get into the passage. So this is your first paragraph. Please pause the video here, read this, and then we'll move into the second paragraph. So this is your second paragraph. Pause the video here, read it a little, and then we'll go into the questions. So this is your question number 1. Pause the video, take no more than 1.5 minutes, no cheating guys. Comment your answer below, and then we'll move to the second question. Okay guys, same process. Pause the video here, question number 2. Answer quickly, then we'll move into the third question. Alright guys, nice question, third question. One more question left. Pause the video here, solve this, and then we'll move to the last question of this passage. Okay, so last question of this passage. Come on guys, quickly answer this. Put down your answers in the comments, and then when I'm explaining the questions, you can check how many you've gotten correct and you can improve. Okay, now that you've read the passage and answered the question, let's get into the passage explanations. So, how can you tell if someone is angry or happy? How do you know when you feel that way yourself? If you suffer from alexithymia, so he's introducing a new concept and he's talking to me about something related to emotions, right? So he's talking to me about emotions and he's talking to me about alexithymia. So if you suffer from alexithymia, you cannot. That means you cannot tell if someone is angry or happy. That means you cannot distinguish between emotions. This disorder, first identified in the 70s, describes people. So this is the definition, right? So alexithymia describes people who are unable to articulate their own feelings and cannot understand the feelings of others. So it's all about emotions and feelings. So I should understand that this passage is going to talk more about emotions and feelings. They tend to have literal-minded dreams and have trouble reading others' facial expressions and non-verbal cues. Again, it's just reinforcing the same statement that the people who have alexithymia are unable to understand the feelings of others and in fact themselves as well. They often run into difficulties at work and in their personal life because of this emotional awareness deficit. So while you're working and in your personal life as in your friendships, marriage or anything, okay, you might have problems. In working, you might have problems with collaborating, in communication, these kind of things which need you to understand the expressions of others. You'll have a problem in. Okay, they are for all intents and purposes emotionally blind. Great. So this entire paragraph, he's only telling me one thing, that okay, alexithymia is so and so. Yes, am I writing the spelling correct? No. So alexithymia is so and so, which is not being able to understand the emotions, and there are problems in work and personal life. Alright guys, so let's move forward. Alexithymia is rare. For most of us, the ability to read people's emotional signals and expressions develops gradually with varying degrees of skill over a lifetime. That means we keep on learning. okay, over a lifetime, how to read the signals of, or how to read the expressions of different people. Yes, but alexithymia is very rare, okay, very few people have this kind of a disorder. But while studying research by Clifford Nass, a Stanford University psychologist and expert on multitasking, I was reminded of alexithymia. So when the author was reading about a research by Clifford Nass, this guy, okay, who's also a psychologist and an expert on multitasking, okay, he got reminded of alexithymia. Maybe Nass spoke something about alexithymia, right? So Nass found that spending a lot of time in a mediated environment undermines our ability to read others' emotions. Okay, so this is what Nass found, that spending a lot of time in mediated environments undermines our ability to read others' emotions. What are these mediated environments? Mediated environments are environments or communication channels which have a medium. Medium as in what? If I am talking to you directly, if you were right in front of me, we were just talking to each other. We'd be just talking to each other. But now how are we communicating with each other? We're communicating through YouTube, right? So that's a mediated communication channel, all right? So there's a medium. So having presence of a medium makes something a mediated communication channel. So when Nash showed avid internet users pictures of human faces or told them stories about people, they had trouble identifying the emotions being expressed. So when Nash kind of showed very frequent users of internet or very good users of internet human faces and told them stories, they could not recognize the emotions being expressed. So human interaction is a learned skill, is what Nash kind of concluded. Okay, and these people who are on the internet, they don't get to practice it so much, right? So what can I understand from this portion of my passage? Yeah, that reading emotions, maybe I can say that, right? Reading emotions is a learned skill. More mediated environment, less this skill. That is something that I can talk about, right? So if emotions use our bodies as a theater, then as the neuroscientist Antonio Damasio puts it, what happens when that theater becomes virtual? That means if our bodies are an embodiment of our emotions and we need each other to be present to learn this emotional connect, what happens if all of this is taken virtual, where you cannot see me? Okay, it's somewhere far about. So you can't understand how the expressions or how my emotions are changing based on my expression. Are we getting this? Right. So let's move on to the next part of the passage. So as more of our emotional experiences occur online, we expand the quantity of connections, more easily finding like-minded people with whom to share feelings. At the same time, we lose the physical cues that define face-to-face interaction and so risk undermining a crucial skill, which is how to read others' intentions and understand others' feelings. So now look at this. Over here, the first two lines are actually a positive of mediated communication environments like the internet and all. He's saying that you get to find more new people. So the amount or number of people that you're interacting with increases. But at the same time, in these lines, he's saying that face-to-face interaction reduces, and that is why the physical cues reduces, and which is why you getting to understand emotions also reduces. Okay. So if the vitriolic discussions about climate change on my favorite weather blogs are any guide, that means if these are any evidence, okay, this leads many of us to assume the worst about each other's motives. So what is this meaning of this word vitriolic? Okay, if we want to know the normal meaning contextually, it means harsh. Okay, so the harsh discussions that we are having about climate change, okay, on that blog, if there are any evidence, it shows that many of us are just assume that the other person has a very bad motive. Why? Because you're not able to see them. You're not able to understand what their emotion is. You're just typing. And in typing, you can't understand their emotions so much. Right? So although we all recognize rationally that there is another human being on the other side of the screen, it's becoming clear that our use of certain technology elevates some emotional responses over others. Now what does this mean? Although we know that there's another human being on the other side of the screen, obviously there's someone who's typing on the other side of the laptop. No. Yes, AI is not just generating all those comments, right? So even when we understand that there's someone on the other side, we are still behaving like there is no one over there. Okay, if there was someone right face to face, I wouldn't be so rude. I would have some common sense not to be that rude, right? But if it is on the internet, okay, what is the repercussion that I'm going to have? There's no immediate repercussion that I'm going to have, right? No one's going to punch me out of the screen, right? So I could be rude. So some inhibited things that I'm not going to express when we are face to face, I may express when we are on the internet. That's what he's. A recent study published in the Journal of Computer Mediated Communication explored whether incivility, that means not being civil, okay, online influenced people's perception of an article. In this instance, a neutral explanation of emerging technologies such as nanotechnology. So there was a very neutral article that they've taken, and he saw whether people being incivil in the comments box or anything is going to influence people's opinion about the article in itself. What he found was that the results were startling. That means they were very shocking to him. Okay, so guys, this word startling means shocking. Okay, so rude comments didn't merely polarize readers. That means they just did not separate readers into, two extremes. They changed the perception of the article as well. Okay, so the researchers noted how social reprimands such as non-verbal communication and isolation can curb incivility in face-to-face discussion. That means what? In a face-to-face discussion, okay, you have some kind of a punishment. Okay, it's like non-verbal communication, like your expressions or you turning away and all, and isolation, that means you're moving away from people, which can stop you being rude to people. But that by contrast, the internet may foster uncivil discussions because of its lack of offline in-person consequences. That means what? Just because this person is not right in front of you, you are not susceptible. You are thinking that, okay, it's fine for me to be rude with that person. What will happen? So that repercussion has been taken off. As a result, they argued, this form of online incivility, okay, being not civil online, which they called the nasty effect. Okay, obviously you're being nasty if you're being rude to other people, right? May impede, that means may reduce or may stop the democratic goal of public deliberation online. That means the democratic goal, that means it's for the people, right? That you talk online, you discuss things online, it's for the good of the people, but that keeps stopping when you're being rude to each other. Now that we've understood the passage, let's quickly get into the question. So question number 1. Which of the following best sums up the findings of the research done by Clifford Nass? Okay, so obviously Clifford Nass was a multitasker, right? So multitasking on the internet inhibits our ability to identify human emotions. Now, just because he was a multitasker doesn't mean that he spoke about multitasking, right? He did not speak about multitasking. So I'm going to take this off. Being on the internet is definitely, harming your ability to identify human emotions, but not multitasking on the internet. Social isolation can cause alexithymia. May be true. Definitely could be possible. But my dear friends, has not been really told in the passage by Clifford Nass. So I'm going to take this off also. Alexithymics genuinely cannot read other people's emotions since they don't get enough opportunities to practice human interaction. Fair enough. I agree with this point also. The author would also agree, but Clifford Nass is not the one who told this. Okay. So I'm going to take this off. Lack of face-to-face communication. This is something that Clifford Nass has spoken to us. If we just go back to the passage, you can see over here. Right. So Nass found that a lot of time in mediated environments undermines the reader's emotions. And when Nass showed pictures of human faces, okay, so human interaction is a learned skill, Nass concluded that they don't get to practice it enough, right? So from these statements, I can clearly say that lack of face-to-face communication due to the increased use of digital media, okay, so being on mediated environments is hampering our ability to read facial emotions and non-verbal cues. So this should be our correct answer. So let's go to the second question. All of the following statements are true to the passage except, so there's one statement which is false. We have to find which is that statement. The ability to read others people's emotions can't be learned from a screen in the same way it can be learned from face to face. Obviously, you learn better face to face than on a screen. So this is true. Alexithymia is the inability to express emotions or to understand others' emotions. Here, definition, and this is the definition of alexithymia. So obviously, this is true. Habitual and prolonged use of the internet increases the risk of alexithymia. See, obviously he said that people who are on the internet don't understand emotions as well, but they never said that it increases the risk of alexithymia. They're two separate things. Alexithymia is the definition. The definition of alexithymia is that you cannot understand emotions. But just because you're on the internet doesn't make you more risk prone towards alexithymia. This is an inference that you cannot draw. So as far as I'm concerned, this is false. Okay, alexithymia can be linked with poor marital quality. Obviously, again, he's told us somewhere in the passage, if I'm not wrong, he's told us over here, they often run into difficulties at work and in their personal lives because of this emotional awareness deficit. What is that? So obviously their marital quality or them making friends and all, there will be a problem. So alexithymia can be linked with poor marital quality. That's an inference that you may draw. So this could also be true. Right. So the only option out of these which is not true is C. So C should be our answer. Now, if you go into the third question, the author discusses the results of this study published in the Journal of Computer Mediated Communication to demonstrate that. So, why did the author discuss the results? He's not asking what are the results. He's asking why did he discuss, the purpose of him discussing the results. So, incivility in online discourses not only polarizes readers but also spreads rapidly, thereby changing the perception of the topic under review. Exactly, this is the result. The result in itself and not the reason why the result is being discussed. So obviously I can take this out as my answer. Certain technologies can help us shed inhibitions, leave our inhibitions, yes, and express some feelings in a way that we are reluctant to do something in personal interaction. So yes, this is the reason why we have gotten this kind of a result, right? Because we are able to think that okay, face to face nahi hai, someone is not right in front of us, so there's no kind of a repercussion for us. So this could be our potential answer if we don't find something better. The risk of social repercussions can limit uncivil behavior in in-person discussions. Great. I agree with this, but the point is this study and the purpose was to talk about the internet and the mediated communication technologies, not the face-to-face discussions. So although this point is correct, okay, this point is about the face-to-face discussions, okay, which is not directly mentioned in the passage. So I can take this off. The nasty effect may impede democratic goals. Okay, guys, this is directly given in the passage and this has nothing to do with what we are talking about. So let's just remove this. So far, the best answer is B. That will be our correct answer. So let's go to the last question, the fourth question, guys. Till now, how many did you get correct? Please tell me in the comment box. Okay, so let's get into the fourth question. Which of the following statements can be most reasonably inferred from the passage? That means what can I understand from the passage? The nasty effect observed in online discussion primarily stems from individuals pre-existing. Okay, I'm going to stop us right here. We've never spoken about pre-existing tendencies towards rudeness, right? They just said that, okay, because there is no one right in front of you, you are able to be rude. That doesn't mean that you are always rude, you are already rude. That is why you are able to be rude on the internet, no? So this cannot be my correct answer. I'm going to remove this. Alexithymia, though a rare disorder, serves as an extreme example to illustrate that emotional deficits that can arise from excessive mediated interaction. Yes. So, alexithymia is a very rare disorder, okay, and it's an extreme example. Obviously, from internet, you're not getting alexithymia. That's what we've already learned. But it shows us that you can get emotional deficits, okay, from excessive mediated interaction. You may lose the ability to express emotions or understand emotions. Not that you'll get alexithymia. So yes, this could be a possible inference. Antonio Damasio's metaphor of emotions use our bodies as a theater suggests that virtual interactions are inherently incapable of conveying genuine emotional experiences. Now see, they are not inherently incapable. We are just, the more we are doing it, the less we are able to express. That does not mean that they themselves are incapable. So I can remove this as well. The passage primarily advocates for reducing screen time. Okay, see, again, the purpose of the passage is not to talk about reducing screen time. Okay, and especially it's not to improve emotional literacy and foster more civil online discussions. It's to say that yes, if you are online, then this happens. It's not like do this because this happens, right? So if you're online, your emotional responses reduces what he's saying. He's not saying because they reduce, you have to move out of the online sphere and interact with people. That's not what he's saying. So I can take this off as well. This can be removed. The only answer that fits my inferences is the second one. So B should be a correct answer. So I hope you liked this video. If you liked this video and if you feel that you've learned something, please continue following this 100 Days to CAT series. This has been specifically designed for you to stay consistent and solve at least one passage every single day in verbal ability. Like this video and I'll meet you in the next one.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.